So I'm Charlotte and I've got a slightly different vlog for you today. So we're now into November. I've started sweatshirt sewing again for the year. So this is a brand new Megan Nielsen's Jarrah sweatshirt that I've just finished this weekend. The Christmas mug is out and I've got a tea with me to accompany the vlog. And I am going to talk today about gift sewing. So I've got a fairly long list of sewing patterns which make great Christmas gifts. So either for family, friends, or if you're participating in any online swaps. I have featured or have included quite a large number of free patterns, but there's also some paid for patterns jotted through the list as well. And then I have just got a very small number of suggestions for knitted gifts as well at the end. So without further ado, I'll start going through the list. I am going to keep having to look down because it's quite a long list and I won't remember everything otherwise. So to start off, I was going to mention the Bombazine Mitt. So quite a lot of people will be familiar with this pattern. It comes from Bombazine, and there was a dedicated Bombazine Mitt swap, I think last year, which I participated in. It's a really nice quick pattern. It's a useful one. You know, everyone can always use an oven glove. The key thing to know with this pattern is obviously you need to make sure you purchase some heat resistant insulation for inside the mitt so that it is safe to use to get things out of the oven. But other than that, you can use existing fabric scraps. It's not too huge, obviously. So yeah, highly recommended. Next, I was going to mention Noodlehead, who is a bag pattern designer. She's got a wide range of different bag designs, all sorts of styles, from messenger bags to backpacks to handbags. So there's loads there if you are thinking of bag making for yourself or as a gift. But in particular, in this vlog, I was going to mention a couple of free patterns from Noodlehead. So I was going to mention the forage bag, which is a small handbag, which would be great for a gift. It doesn't use a lot of fabric. It's only smallish. It doesn't use a lot of fabric. Looks fairly simple to construct, but a really cool design. So I think that would be a great one. And the other one I was going to mention is the Tiny Treasures basket and tray set, as something a bit different. If you didn't want to make a bag, this would make lovely storage in a sewing or a craft room or office, for example. And this is one I have made before. Made it a year or two ago as part of an online swap. And yeah, again, it's a really simple pattern to put together, but it was really good fun to make. And I definitely want to make that pattern again. So next, I was going to mention a tailor's ham and sausage pattern. So there'll be a number of free patterns for these online. But the pattern in particular that I have linked below and that I was going to mention is from Victory Patterns, and quite a few years ago now this was linked on Tilly and the Buttons website, but it is still available. I have tried this pattern some time ago, and yeah, it's great. It's easy to follow. Obviously this is a nice one to make for yourself if you haven't got a tailor's ham and sausage currently, or to give as a gift to someone else who sews. So then I was going to mention the Thread Theory wallet set. So this is the first pattern that I've mentioned that isn't free, but it's quite a good deal. You get a whole set of different wallet designs from Thread Theory. They're pretty unisex, so they'd be a nice gift for pretty much any adult. And because there's three designs in the set, there's kind of something for everyone. The sample images for this set are really lovely. I can't remember, they're made in some quite unusual fabrics and they look really cool, but obviously this is another pattern that you could absolutely make using your existing scraps, and would work in a load of different fabrics. So then I was going to mention a couple of bags. So the first of these is a free pattern that's been available for quite a few years now from Very Purple Person for a reversible bag. So this is another one that I've made quite a few years ago now. You can use your fabric scraps to make it, absolutely. Because it's reversible, you can include at least 2 different fabrics if you want to. Obviously, you could patchwork it and include more. The fact it's reversible, so that you're obviously sewing the bag twice and then attaching the those pieces together. Means it's quite sturdy, so it makes quite a sturdy shopping bag. It's quite a strong bag, and it's not a huge bag, but it's reasonably roomy as well. So yeah, that's one. It's a really nice pattern actually, and really simple to sew. And then I was also going to mention a completely different style, the reversible. The zero waste origami bag from Milan AVJC. So I think this pattern came out last year. It's free, and Milan AVJC are a zero waste pattern company, and this bag is a zero waste pattern. Don't think I've seen this made up, but the sample pictures look really cool. It would use a bit more fabric. It's quite a large bag, so if you want a bigger bag, this is an ideal design. Obviously it would use more fabric if you're trying to make gifts from your scraps, but being zero waste, obviously if you've got a piece that fits this bag, you know that that's absolutely all you need and there's nothing going to waste. So yeah, it looks a really cool design, and something a bit different. Then I was going to mention a project bag rather than a handbag, this one. So this is from Very Sharon, and it's the reversible box tote. So this is a really nice boxy bag, and ideal for using as a project bag and holding knitting, etc., or craft supplies. And that's another lovely free pattern that I think's been around for quite some time. Then next I was going to mention Wendy Ward's MIY collection. She has a number of patterns for accessories or really simple sews, which I thought all of which would make really great gifts. So she has accessory collection, which includes, I think there's like a cowl, within the collection there's like a headband, a cowl, all sorts of things. She's got bag and purse patterns as well, an accessory collection that's bags and purses. And then she also has individual patterns for cowls and shrugs, which are perfect for this time of year, and they're really simple. They'd be really simple to sew. You don't need to worry too much about fitting. They'd be, they're fairly loose fitting. So if you had a general idea of sizing for a person, you wouldn't need any specifics. So yeah, those are paid for patterns, but the accessory collections are good deals. You get a number of patterns in the collection, and then obviously the shrugs, etc., are separate paid patterns. So next, digital pattern library. So this is a different one. So this is a free pattern that was released last year, I think. So Digital Pattern Library, if you don't know, are a pattern design company who mainly make garment patterns, but this was a free accessory pattern they released for a cute tape measure, basically. So it's the pattern is for a little stuffed house, and then you put a tape measure inside that house, so you have kind of a novelty tape measure. But it's a really nice little gift pattern. I think this will make a really cute one for using up your scraps. You could use a mixture of different scraps on this. It'd be a really nice one to give as a gift to someone who sews or knits. Then I was going to mention tie patterns. So obviously a tie is a nice, fairly quick thing that you can whip up as a gift. There are loads of different tie patterns. I have previously made a few ties using Sew Over It's tie pattern. That is a paid for pattern, but it's a really good one. It's a really nice pattern. They also used to, I don't know if they still do that as a kit as well. So you can get, but to be honest, there's not much that you need for a tie. You obviously need main fabric. You need a small amount of lining fabric, and then probably a bit of interfacing. So you can easily probably do that from your stash or go out and buy some fabric to go with the pattern. If you fancied a free tie pattern, there's quite a few out there. In particular, I wanted to recommend Pearl Soho's tie pattern, which is linked below, and also Free Sewing website also have a free tie pattern available. All their patterns, I should say as well. So if you're looking for free patterns for garments, Free Sewing, all their patterns are free, and it's the way that the site works is that you input the measurements of the person that you're sewing for, and you get a customised pattern. I suspect with a tie that's probably not the case. It's probably just some specifics maybe about length. I haven't looked in detail. But obviously there's also there's like a men's trunks pattern, and then there's all sorts of garments, t-shirts, trousers, etc. So that's a good place to look as well if you are looking for free patterns to make a gift for someone else this year. So next I was going to mention Grainline Studio. So they have a couple of paid for patterns for bags that are good gift patterns. So the first of those is the Stow bag. So this is a really cool design for a project bag. I have made one of these I think I made one to give away in a swap. I haven't gone back to it, but it's a really lovely pattern. It makes a very cool looking project bag. And again, it's another one where you can definitely make it from your scraps, and you can use at least a couple of different scraps in terms of the outside and the lining of the pattern. I can't remember if it's actually reversible, the Stow bag. I think it either is or it very easily would be anyway. And then for a more involved make, they also have the Portside Travel Kit, which has a whole selection. So this is another one that's quite a good deal because you get a range of bags. So it's a whole selection of different bags around the theme of what would you need for a whole travel kit. And then also, while we're talking about Grainline, I was just going to mention that their free Hemlock tee pattern has recently been re-released in a range of sizes. So this is a free tee that they've made available for quite a few years. Originally it was a one size only pattern, so you needed to grade up or down yourself if that size didn't fit. It's a fairly boxy tee, but now that they've just released their new size range, they've re-released the pattern in a range of sizes. It's a free pattern, as I say, but to get it you need to sign up to their mailing list. So that's a good one if you're looking to make a tee for someone else this year or for yourself. Then I was going to mention Tilly and the Buttons. So Tilly has a couple of free patterns listed on her website under free patterns. In particular, she has a free eye mask pattern, which is a nice small gift and very quick and easy to make from some scraps. And then she also has a pattern for some slipper boots, they're called. So some kind of sock boots for wearing inside the house. So I was going to just come back now to underwear. So I already mentioned briefly about some men's boxer patterns, but there are various places that you can go for men's boxers. I already mentioned that Free Sewing have a free pattern. You'll need to input the measurements on that one, and then you'll get a customised pattern. But Thread Theory is another place. This is a paid for pattern, but they also have a men's boxer pattern available, as well as a whole range of other menswear patterns, of course. And then women's pants, there's, I'm going to say there's a lot more choice. There probably is, but also I'm also more aware of the choice. So in particular, I was going to mention Zoe from Sew Zoe. She has a free knicker pattern and also a free vest pattern that have been available for quite a few years. So lots of people have made these and tested them. They're available on Zoe's website. Madeline, who obviously specialises in lingerie and has a number of paid for patterns on her website and via Simplicity. She also has a number of free patterns. She has one free pant pattern, and then she has quite a few bralette patterns as well if you are brave enough to sew a bralette for someone else. Admittedly, a bralette shouldn't need quite as much fitting as a more fitted bra, so... and then also I was just going to mention Olulu, who again is obviously a lingerie specialist. She has a wide range of patterns, but she has a number of free patterns, including she's got a little eye mask, a sleep mask pattern as well, like Tilly. She has a bralette pattern, and she also has a free pattern for a wash bag, which is supposed to be a lingerie wash bag for your delicates, but would obviously work wider as well. So yeah, definitely worth checking out Olulu's website. So Next on the list, I was going to mention Pearl Soho. So obviously Pearl Soho store, on their website they have loads of free patterns. It's a really good blog, a really good resource. So you can go straight to, I think you can go straight on their website to the free sewing patterns. And just briefly, they include tote bags, a range of different bags. They include scarves, quilts, there's all sorts on there, so they're definitely worth checking out. So then next I was going to mention In the Folds patterns for Peppermint magazine. So the pattern company In the Folds, you may know, did a series. She's just stopped now, but she did design a series of free patterns for Peppermint magazine, and they're available via Peppermint magazine. So these are garment patterns. So this is a slightly bigger project to give as a gift. But they're all fairly simple styles. A lot of them are more looser fit. So yeah, it's a good place to look if you want to sew a garment for somebody else and don't want to also have the cost of a pattern if you're trying to do it from your stash or just spend money on fabric. So next I was going to mention bum bag patterns. So obviously bum bags or fanny packs, as they are in the US, have been popular the last year or so now, and there are a number of patterns out there. In particular, I was going to mention one pattern which is actually a paid for pattern, but it's a very cool design, and that's Sarah Kirsten's Fennel Fanny Pack pattern. I'm sure there are some free ones out there too, but yeah, this is a really cool stylish design if you are looking to make a bum bag for yourself or for someone else. Then I was going to mention, so back to free patterns, so I was going to mention the Ida clutch from Kylie and the Machine. So this is a free pattern for a clutch bag. This is one that's been really popular. So if you have a look on Instagram, you'll find loads of really cool examples of this. And it was also included in a swap which was earlier this year, which was the Ogden Cami Ida clutch swap. I've forgotten the exact hashtag now, but I'll put it below. So yeah, there's absolutely loads of these that you can look up online, and it's a really nice simple design. Again, you could definitely make this with fabric from your stash, and you could make it in a whole different range of fabrics as well, and get a different look. So on the topic of bags, I was going to mention a paid for pattern, which is the Luna crossbody bag from Pattern Scout. So this is one I'm making at the moment. It's another simple small bag, over the shoulder design, but it just has a really nice it's just a really different style, and yeah, just really cute. It would look lovely in lots of different fabrics again. It doesn't use a huge amount of fabric, and you could definitely use a mixture of different scraps if you wanted to make this from what you already have in your stash. And then just a couple of final ones. So I was going to mention Anila Hui, who she's a pattern designer of their like craft bag patterns, small bag patterns, and they are available. Paper patterns are available from Beyond Measure. I think she also has a book of patterns available as well. So I bought one of these fairly recently from Beyond Measure. I haven't got around to sewing it yet, but it's a really cool design for a craft bag. And again, these would make a really nice gift. You could definitely use scrap fabric from your stash, leftover fabric. But yeah, some really cool, unusual designs from Anila. And then the very last thing that I was going to mention is a pattern which I don't think is available online anymore, but some people definitely have this pattern already downloaded, so I thought it'd be worth reminding you, and maybe it is and I just missed it. But this was the Stanley Tree pattern from Sewaholic. So obviously Sewaholic Pattern Company changed ownership a number of years ago, and I think in that move this pattern seems to have vanished off the web. But this was a really cute stuffed Christmas tree decoration that was released a few years ago. I made loads of these the year it was released. I have seen very similar patterns elsewhere in magazines and online, so you could definitely find something similar. So that was all the sewing patterns I was going to mention, so I'm just going to have a swig of tea, and then we're going to move on to a few knitting patterns. So if you're looking for free knitting patterns, obviously the best place to look is Ravelry. There are thousands of patterns on there for absolutely anything and everything. But I was just going to point you to a few other resources who have really high quality free knitting patterns that might be a good alternative place to start. And rather than starting with Ravelry, which has, as I say, thousands, these are a few places with a select few really good quality free patterns. So first off, I was going to mention Pearl Soho again. So as well as having a really nice selection of free sewing patterns, they also have a nice selection of free knitting patterns, including, so they're all, you can look at the full list on their website, and it includes lots of different scarves, lots of different shawls, blankets, as well as other assorted things. So definitely a good place to look. Then I was going to mention Fringe Association. So obviously the Fringe Association shop has lots of lovely products and they have a great blog. Occasionally they release a free pattern, so you can find these via their website, or they have a Ravelry page with the patterns listed. But they've released a really nice hat pattern. There's a vest pattern and a cowl. For example, there are some other things on the blog which they're more starters for 10 or ideas for patterns as well, which might be great inspiration. But yeah, there's those 3 patterns on the Ravelry site that are worth checking out. Then I was going to mention Loop London. So this is a shop in London who sell really beautiful knitting supplies and yarn. They have so they normally release a free pattern every Christmas and then occasionally in between. They have various different patterns. One in particular that I really love was that a couple of years ago they released a crochet pattern for little sprigs of holly, which I tried to start crocheting last year or the year before, but I'm not a good crocheter. I forget how to do it because I do it rarely. So every time I crochet something, then by the next time that I crochet something, I've forgotten everything I knew. So I might try again this holly pattern this year. But it allows you to make a garland, or you can have individual sprigs as decorations or to wear as a brooch, etc. It's really cute. Then I was going to mention Arne and Carlos. So if you don't know them, they are a couple who are knitting and knitwear designers. They have a really good vlog actually with loads of tutorial. They give away a lot of information for free. So their blog has got loads of free patterns, but they're kind of hidden in the blog. So you really have to kind of search through the blog if you want to find the free patterns. But as I say, their vlog has loads of related tutorials and advice. So that's a good place to start, and definitely worth a good mooch. They also sell patterns as well, and they've recently set up I think they're on Ravelry, or they've got a shop on their website. So they now are selling patterns, and they've got some really nice ones. They've got a knitted Christmas stocking, which would make a lovely gift. They've got a design for this year for stocking and last year, so there's a couple to choose from, but that's a paid for pattern. Then I was going to mention Tin Can Knits. So if you don't know Tin Can Knits, they are a pattern design duo who design really, they're really prolific designers of knitting patterns, and they design a wide variety of accessories and sweaters, etc. Their kind of unique selling point is that their designs range from small child to adult sizes, so every single pattern goes across this really wide size range, and a lot of them are designed to be unisex as well. So yeah, their patterns are definitely worth checking out generally, but they also have a wide selection of free patterns. I think they had one whole collection of free patterns, and the free patterns include hats, sweaters, gloves, all sorts. So definitely worth having a look. And then finally, just one really simple thing is that I was going to mention Brooklyn Tweed. Last year, I think, posted a tutorial to make lavender bags out of your past knitting swatches, and I thought this was a really nice idea. It's really just about swatching, either creating swatches or using your existing knitting swatches and sewing those together to make lavender bags. So there's a link below for all of these, including that one, but definitely worth having a look at that idea. So that's all the patterns that I had listed to recommend to you. So obviously there are loads more free patterns out there. If you've got some recommendations of patterns that you love, that you've used before or you're hoping to use this year, please do leave them below. And if you are planning to make your Christmas gifts this year or some of your gifts this year, then good luck. I hope you get everything finished in time and you're not still sewing or knitting on Christmas Eve.